As part of measures to tackle terror and the current insurgency in the northeastern part of the country, the government in Nigeria is planning to set up an elite special brigade force. The elite force, according to the president, will be charged with stemming challenges of new threats in the environment and thereby aligning Nigerians' armed forces, greater citizen protection and national defense. To do an analysis of this is Lionel Rawlins, security consultant, American University of Nigeria. And it's always nice to have you in the studio, Lionel.
Yeah, Alasure.
Barkama. Good morning.
How are you today?
All right.
Well, good. It's nice to have you here. And this morning we are talking about a more logical and interesting, I would say, issue. Where you have the Nigerian government wanting to put up something that will enhance curbing insecurity and terror in the country. We talk about the special brigade force. If we're coming up with such, a big thing like this, what does it really, entail?
Well, it means greater protection for the people. And it means that the insurgents will be on the run. I was wondering why it wasn't done before, because if it had been done a year ago, things would not have deteriorated so badly to this state, because they would have been there. First of all, special forces, the training is tough and specialized, and they're not just your ordinary soldier. Well, it is your ordinary soldiers that they take and give specialized training. That they're able to counter the insurgency. And with that specialized training, they'll be able to do so much. But the key word is brigade. A brigade is a big outfit. A brigade is essentially 3 to 5 battalions.
Put together.
Put together.
All right.
And you're talking, anyway, it could be from 4,000 to 6,000 men. And could you imagine if you have all those people, and these are the specialized forces, out there supporting the regular forces, or the regular forces supporting the specialized forces, but the two of them collaborating. It means that the implications are good. It means that it will soon bring all of this to an end. The problem would be, it might take a lot longer to train them, because you're not going to be trained in a week, nor 2 weeks. It's months of training, because it's so many different things you've got to learn.
Now, when we say it's kind of a new idea, a new program, a new concept in the Nigerian security formation, I believe we will be like kind of maybe berating the situation, because we once had a military counter-terrorist expert here in the studio, and he told us that they were trained specifically to counter terrorism. But we had a problem, which is all about what we see every time in Nigeria: policy inconsistency from the government. Now, if the nation once had a counter-terrorist force, today we're now bringing in new set of ideas, new set of individuals to run same department that once existed. What does it tell of a nation in terms of preparedness for unforeseen circumstances?
Well, the good thing is you already have some specialized trained men who you can, I think you have a special forces already, so it's already there. But it's probably company size or battalion size. And now they want to take it and increase it and make it a brigade size, which is, like I said, it's enormous. And you're taking men from all over Nigeria and you're putting them into this brigade, and now you have enough men that you can dispatch to the north, to the south, to Abuja, anywhere there might be problems. The inconsistency in policies, that is a real problem for anyone, any workplace, even in the corporate world. If all your policies are inconsistent and it keeps changing for no particular reason, it creates a problem. For example, if we don't like changes, but changes must take place. But if the changes are being changed for no reason at all, then it becomes a real problem. And it can be demoralizing to your troops instead of enhancing morale.
Well, if we are talking about, enhancing the morale of these troops, we have several troops, we have several forces in Nigeria, and just like you also mentioned, the special forces, and now another special force is coming on board. What seemed to be what seemed to be that thing lacking in these other forces that have not, improved in their own efforts to counter terrorism?
Well, I believe, I'm not sure if it's lacking, but I will say if it is, why they have to, I think it's the size. Because special forces with usually a small elite group of men, and your problems here in Nigeria are so enormous that you probably do not have enough of those men to dispatch here, there, and everywhere. Because you're not just fighting the insurgents, you're fighting militants elsewhere, you're fighting pirates elsewhere in the Delta, you're fighting organized criminal activities. Your problems here are enormous. So even if you had 1 battalion of special forces, it wouldn't be enough. You could only send maybe 100 men up in the Northeast when you really need 5,000. So that could be a problem. Another problem could be they did not, yes, they had some specialized training, but they didn't have current or more recent and up-to-date training. That is why today you send in some men to Russia for specialized training. And for people who listening, if anyone out there have been to the specialized training, you have to do it every week, every month, almost monthly.
To keep you up to date.
To keep up to date. And you can't just jump out of a plane once a year and then think everything is okay.
I think you can do it again next year.
You've got to do it constantly. And, I've been through the training, so I know what it entails. And it entails a lot of hard work and dedication. So if these men were not up to the current training, you have to go back and revisit, change the policies, and demand that every month you will do this, every month you will do that, every week you will do this, and make it consistent, current, and thorough.
All right.
Sorry, Aaron, now that you are identified the training and retraining of this personnel, could that also be, the loophole that has been hindering activeness in this men?
No, I don't know if it prohibited activeness. I think they were out there, but I don't think there were enough. You see, I don't think there were enough of them out there. You need enough men to go out there and actually do this. And with your forest the way it is and the villages so displaced in various places, you don't have enough of those specialized force officers to go and protect every village, every town, every clime, and still being in the forest.
No, but how do we define enough? When we had the Liberian situation, Nigerian forces were on ground, and yes, though it was difficult in the start, but yet they had success. We also saw them in Syria alone, yet they pulled a dramatic success there too.
Yes, because the fighting was different.
The fighting was different.
Yes.
Now, let's define the fighting that we have here in Nigeria. In Liberia, they called it guerrilla warfare. In Nigeria, is it different from what we're seeing currently?
Well, guerrilla warfare and terrorism are almost identical. You come out, you strike, and then you go back in, you hide, you mix in with the population. So you could be a terrorist and I wouldn't even know. You go out at nights and you kill people and you come back the next morning and you open up your store, your shop, and you sell your coffee and your kunu or whatever it is you drink. So that is what makes it so difficult. What was happening in Sierra Leone and those places, it was more for, you were fighting bandits and people trying to overthrow the government and destabilize the government. And they were very open with it. So you know what you are fighting. Here, you're fighting terrorists who can come in, go out, come in, go out. And then what has been happening now, they've gone beyond this terrorist guerrilla tactics into almost a full conventional fighting force. So you fight in a little mini army of trained men. And if things get tough, they can go right back and blend into the population and come back out when they want. And that is why we always say, if you see something, say something, because the people know who exactly these people are, because they have brothers and sisters and family members who are part of the insurgency.
So having a dual identity helps these terrorists to kind of perpetrate evil, at the same time be on the good side, for it to be difficult for security men to identify them. Now let's look at the approach the Nigerian government has been using in terms of fighting terrorism. How would you rate the approach? Is the approach good enough?
It's good. It could be better. It can get better, and it's getting better.
Knowing fully well that this group that is threatening the northeastern part of Nigeria started way back 2009.
Well, yes, it has gotten better. You know, most of the times the terrorists attack vulnerable areas. They're going to villages that are unprotected. And they will stop on the side of the road and shoot at people. Anyone can do that. You can take a bunch of schoolboys, 10-year-olds, and have them do that. So it's quite easy. It becomes more problematic when you come into towns and big cities and try to take on the military, because now it's a big fight. So what was happening was the military, I believe, and I might be wrong, but this is what I believe, was not taking the fight to the terrorists. The terrorists was taking the fight to the military. So the military was on the defensive all the time.
So tactically it was not the right approach?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
But now the military is taking the fight to them. And now that they're taking the fight to them, you see the difference. It's becoming better and more favorable for the military because you're going after them. And as we say in the Marines, the best offense is a strong defense. So you got to go after them. And that is what they're doing now. So that's why they're on the run. By the way, not because they're on the run means it's over. It means that they're going to become more desperate and they're going to kill more people. And they're going to go after more vulnerable targets, more soft targets. And they're going to burn down churches and mosques and schools and villages just to show that they're still around and they're still here.
Well, I know one of the problems identified, in the whole fight against terror and insurgency has always been intelligence gathering, has always been, leaking information to this group, and then you find them ambushing the military and other things. We have this report that also identifies some soldiers who were arrested, because they were leaking out information to the bad guys and enhancing them, attack or ambush the military. If we have such an issue with the Nigerian military, and then we have this new force coming on board, do we have any cause to worry that this may also replicate in the special force?
Well, it can, but what you have to do is vet these people, seriously vet them, do a background check on them, a serious background check. And the SSS can do that kind of stuff. The special forces are no place for just the ordinary guy, because the training is so special and your assignments are so secretive that you cannot just have anyone going into these places, into these organizations, these specialized forces, and then take that information and call the bad guys. Another way you can handle it is, I believe if you find people doing that, I think the government or the military, I should say, not the government, but the military need to court-martial these people and put them before a firing squad. And then maybe when other people see that, they may start thinking, if I try that, that is the same fate I will meet. That's the same thing will happen to me. But if you don't do it, then people think that they can get away with it. I believe if you court-martial them and you give them the death penalty, and televise it too, by the way.
Okay.
But it can be to
You feel it's going to really serve as a deterrent?
Oh yes, people see it and people start thinking.
But must it get to a point where people need to be court-martialed before it serves as a deterrent for people not to?
That's a very good question. I know where you're going with that. No, we shouldn't get to that point. We should not at all get to that point. You need to, first of all, you need to know who's joining your military. And you have to do a background check on all of them before they even come in. And you always have to constantly be teaching and training and teaching and training. It's a mindset. You got to always it's a continuous thing of, tell you about your commitment to your country, how you feel about your country, your constitution. You got to start ingraining it in your head. You can't just go in and just get your paycheck every month. The United States does it. We call it brainwashing, if you will.
And discipline is also another thing to look at,
When you lack discipline, there's sure going to be a problem. But I think one thing that we need to identify now is how do these individuals get enlisted into this special brigade? That is one factor.
Criteria, do you have to have big muscles like?
All right, we'll get to that later on. We'll take a break now and then we'll be right back on this discussion. Don't go away. Welcome back. This is Safiya Breakfast show. Still to come later on the show is a discussion on International Day of the Girl Child. But back here, we're still with Lionel Rawlins, security consultant, American University of Nigeria. And he has been talking to us on the proposed plan by President Goodluck Jonathan to set up an elite special brigade force to help fight insurgency. Now, Lionel, we're looking at the place of enlistment now, which is going to be one of the difficult aspect of this special brigade. Now, do the Nigerian military or does the presidency co-opt already existing soldiers, naval personnel, air force into the special elite force, or go into the street where we have a large number of unemployed youth who are desperate to get any job and just be there? Which one would be the best approach for the presidency to adopt?
Well, that's a very good question and a tricky question. Because, first of all, I believe that one of the ways that you can defray the high level of unemployment is to take more people in your armed forces. Mm-hmm. But the way people are recruited here is quite difficult to get into the armed forces. So this does not work. You have to change the system and do what the rest of the world is doing. Make it all voluntary, and who pass the tests, mm-hmm. get in. And then if you pass the background, you get in. In terms of using your current special forces, yes, you can use them because they've already been trained. The problem with that would be you have to start doing a thorough background check on all of them. Okay. Thoroughly. Because they've already been there, they've already been trained, but you can't do anything now. So let's find out if these people are true to their country and true to their constitution as they should be, and you just do a background check on them, their family, their friends, their wives, their in-laws, and find out where problems could exist or problems could emerge. But if you want to do that, you select from either your existing force, and make it volunteer. Don't go around and say you come because you have big muscles, and you come because you have them volunteer, and then you start to give them exams and tests and physical fitness and training, and then you whittle it down. You start decreasing it from 10,000 may apply. You only want 8. You can give it to 2,000 quite easily.
Now, I see you making use of a particular word, and that is talking about volunteering. Now, what role does making it a volunteer service play in all of this?
Good question again. Volunteering means I'm coming to you and I'm offering my services. I want to serve my country. So you get into the army, now you're serving your country. Then you want to serve your country better, so you want to join the special forces. So you say, I want to serve my country better. I have a lot more to give. I am better than what I am. I'm more than the ordinary soldier. I can be an elite soldier. So I want to be one of those elite special force group guys. And they will say, oh, you should say, then come. Show us how much of a man you are, and take these tests. We put you through some specialized training. If you pass them, you're in. If you fail it, you're out. It's the same thing we do in the Marines.
So
if you fail anyone, we give you like 20 different tests that you have to go through. If you fail one, you're out.
No,
you must pass all.
I tend to look at it from a more patriotic perspective, rather, because I see if you volunteer, it tends to test your level of patriotism to your country.
It sure does.
But that's why I said, if you want to serve your country, you join the army. You want to serve your country better, then you go into the elite forces, because those are the first guys who are going to go out. So that's patriotism, because you're volunteering and you voluntarily went and said, I want to do this. Rather than me coming and said, I'm going to select you for the special
because
forces.
that has always been a problem. If you know somebody on the top, if your father or your uncle is, a relative to another person who knows somebody, that kind of connection comes to play on, selection, or maybe on the normal military recruitment. But if we're having this, don't you think these factors will also come to play if we want to select the special forces?
Well, it can come into play, but that is what's been plaguing the military, is because the people who really truly want to serve the country patriotically are not being recruited. They've been rejected. The ones who do not really care about patriotism or care about the country are recruited, and when they come in, those are the ones who don't want to fight. They're there for salary.
The job.
Sure. And you're serving your military as a military man. It's more than a job. It's not a job at all. You are a representative of your country. You are the defender of your country. You are the one who keep the people safe. And that's why I always say, when you see a soldier or a sailor